Heyo, what is up, beautiful people? My name is Clyde, and you are listening to the first very episode of the More Than a Creative podcast. Welcome, glad you're here. Thank you for listening and tuning in. I kind of want to talk about a few things today. This is my first ever podcast, and this is my third time filming this very specific episode. I'm so nervous. Earlier, I was literally like pumping out sweat. It was gross. So I probably won't show you that, but I might, just for comedic effect. When I was on my way over here, I was like, dude, what am I going to talk about today? Rick, I've had so many things pull my attention and direction this last 2 weeks. And I just didn't know what I was going to say, but I knew one thing, that I made a commitment, and I'm going to be here today, and I'm going to film. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I don't know where I'm going to do it. I don't know what I'm going to film for, but I said that I was going to film a podcast, so I'm doing it. These aren't even my mics. This isn't even my setup. Shout out to Nick Henderson. He has a podcast. It's amazing. You should go check it out. It's called What's the Word Podcast, and it's a self-help podcast for Christians. And shout out to you, Nick. Thank you again. But I made a commitment, and I think one of the things that we have to realize as creative people is that when you make a commitment, you got to follow through with it. Like, no matter what you have to do to get there. For a really long time, I struggled with like procrastination, imposter syndrome, perfectionist tendencies, and that really hindered my growth and my purpose, which is to create content. Like, that's literally my job. I'm literally a creative director at the church that I work at. And for so long, like, I allowed myself to just live off of these excuses. Like, I'll get to it tomorrow. Or like, I can't right now. Like, I have a bunch of other stuff that I gotta make. Like, I can't make a podcast or a video right now. I mean, I can edit, but Ben has a game. My brother, I can't I can't miss out on that. Like, he's gonna go to college one day, and I won't be able to see him as much. He actually just moved out, which is kind of sad. 2 weeks ago, I missed that kid. Hope he's doing all right. But like, we can come up with a plethora of excuses after excuse after excuse after excuse, and it builds up over time and over time and over time. And after a while, it's like, oh frick, 4 years went by. Like, where'd the time go? And you're here now with a man bun, and you're just like, bro, what? Like, how did I get here right now? Oh frick, my bad. My computer's about to die. Hold on, give me a sec. My bad, beginner mistake. Okay, we're good. We're all fixed up. Like I was saying, like, dude, 4 years went by, and now I'm like, I have a whole job now, and that's exciting. That's a great thing, but I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Commit to what you said you're going to do, regardless of what that looks like. Like, I'm literally in my brother's studio right now, like, adopted brother, but whatever. Like, I wish I had my own studio right now. Like, I wish I had my own microphones, I wish I had my own headphones. Like, these are Nick's, and that's okay. Like, you don't need the best to start off with. Like, you just need to do. Like, do what you said you're gonna do. Whether that's afraid, whether that's in a time when you're happy, when you're motivated, when you're not being disciplined, when you are being disciplined, like, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, just do what you're going to do. Like, you said you're going to do it. All right, do it. And I think a lot of that comes from self-respect. Like, for a long time, I didn't respect myself. Like, I didn't even love myself for a long time. And as a creative person, your desire to create and just make things is always kind of subjugated by the audience that you present your work to some degree. At least that's how I was when I first started. And I really allowed the opinions to get to my head. But I think what I didn't realize was, like, know your audience. Like, your friends and your family might not be the people who you want to share your content with. And you got to be okay with that, Like, your friends and your family might not be creative people, and you might not want to share creative insight with not very creative people, because what do they know, right? Like, how much experience do they have in creativity and what that looks like and what that looks like for you? And I think there's a fine line there and there's a balance with that, but knowing who your audience is and what you're sharing with your audience is huge in the development of your creativity and definitely your beginning years. And I think for a long time, I kind of based my worth or my value off of the opinions of others because I wasn't able to separate my work from who I am, right? Like, I'm not my work. That's something that's so important, dude. Oh my gosh. If I had known that when I was 18, 19 years old, starting off, like, I'm not my videos. That's just a part of me. Like, that's not all of me, you know? And once you're able to separate yourself from that, you'll find yourself able to receive critique better from other creatives. You'll be able to find yourself getting better faster because you're receiving critiques and you're changing things up and you're making things your own, the way that you want them to be seen, but also in a way that's like really cool and like really awesome. That is huge. And that's the second thing that I would say is like, you're not your work, you know? And your audience doesn't get to base your value and your worth off of your work. Like, you're a whole human being, bro. Made in the image of God. Like, you're more than your work, you know? I remember when I was first starting off, I had a really awesome mentor. His name's Robbie. Shout out to Robbie. Freaking love that man. He is so passionate about everything he does. He's super detail oriented. I remember when I first graduated high school. Didn't go to college. When I first graduated high school, I didn't want to go to school. So I went to community college for a year. And then after that, I was like, bump this. I want to make videos full time. And Robbie was huge in that because he brought me under his wing. I asked him questions like, hey, like, what kind of gear should I use? Like, what's your favorite camera lens for this? Like, how do you know when to use a lens for that? What's your export settings? Like, how do I make my videos look really good on Instagram? Like, how do I promote my videos? Like, what does this whole world look like? What does this industry mean for me and for others? Like, how do I make really cool relationships with people so that they want to work with me? You know, those weren't the questions that I was asking back then, but those are the things that I've learned now. And it was really cool to have somebody who's been through the process and the experience and was able to be like, hey, like, this is how you do things, you know? But what I really appreciated about Robbie was his passion. Like, he was so passionate, and that passion really like got me through a lot of the kind of trials and circumstances of my life at the time. Like, people were saying like, dude, Clyde's weird. Like, people were sending me memes of me of my videos, who I thought were my friends. And they might have been joking, but like, they were pretty mean. Like, they were pretty mean. Man, those are bad. But like, a lot of this stuff really weighed heavy on me because I didn't know how to separate myself from my work. And Robbie was so supportive and so just like, dude, you're doing great. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, man, I never thought of that. Or like, how'd you do this? I'm like, dude, what do you mean, Robbie? You've been doing this for like however long. And it felt really good. I remember one time, actually, I was at the church, and Robbie, I had just gotten hired on, and Robbie was like fixing his Kelvin on his computer or on his camera, which is basically like how warm or how cold the image looks on the screen. And I was like, hey, Rob's, like, your Kelvin is a little high. Like, it looks hot. And he's like, oh, thanks, man. Like, look at you. Show me what my Kelvin is. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I made it. I'm a creative person, dude. I know what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't have gotten there without Robbie and his passion. Because my passion was dictated off of the passion of other people, I was never fully passionate about what I wanted to be passionate about. And I just thought I wanted to be that way, you know? Like, I didn't make it my own until I realized, like, dude, content creation is literally capturing content, sharing stories with others in a visual way people can like understand what I'm feeling and thinking through videos. What? Like, I was listening to a podcast, the Future podcast, by Chris Do. Chris Do, you're a beast. And he was talking about reading, like books. Like, the title of the podcast was "How to Read a Book," and it's like, whenever you read, you're literally reading the mind of people. Like, they write down their thoughts, they polish it, and now you are receiving their thoughts and you're reading it and you're taking that in as your own experience. Like, that's basically video. Like, that's storytelling, you know? And whenever I was like super passionate, I was like, bruh, what? When that clicked for me, bro, that changed the game. And so my passion, I didn't truly become passionate about creating videos until really 2021, 2020. And that's actually when I started, that's when I got hired on at the church that I work at, to be the videographer of the student ministry. And that spiraled into like, oh my gosh, like there's a love here and a passion for social media. Like, I can share my story with multiple people and many eyes. There's a lot of eyeballs on social media. You know what I mean? Like, millions and millions and millions. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And this finally, it was like, dude, I want to share this. Like, I want to talk to people about this. But if it weren't for my passion that I made my own, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, I would have still been, and I still struggle with this, like a bunch, like a ton. Ask anyone. Like, I would have really, really struggled with sharing because of my experiences in the past. And it isn't only until recently that I was able to figure out like who I am and my why, which has allowed me to be in front of you right now and filming a podcast and doing what I've wanted to do since I was young, which has been a really cool experience. And it's really cool how God has kind of used that desire in me to become rich and famous like Logan Paul, to now creating content for people to see who God is, which is my calling, which is really cool, just how he kind of mixed those things together and intertwined those things for his glory. And because of his love for me, like, he was like, all right, Clyde, like, I know you love this and I know you love this. I know you love videography and I know you love social media. You just don't know it yet. Here, I'm going to put you in a position where you know who I created you to be. And that meant so much to me. And I'm so thankful to God for that and the people around me who've mentored me. But with that being said, like, I'm excited for this podcast. I accidentally hit the tail. Sorry, Nick. Nick told me not to do that on my first podcast because it made that sound. But I don't know if you picked that up. Anyways, thank you for listening. That's all I have for today. I'm really excited to film the next episode. And I promise I'll plan it this time. But I think this one went pretty okay. So I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you for listening to the More Than a Creative podcast. I will catch you guys on the next episode. Much love. Peace.